What's up, Central Illinois? Derek Hayden here. Garrett and I love sharing all the awesome stories about our Central Illinois business leaders. We want to make sure our Central Illinois businesses are protected so we can continue to share all these great stories. That's why you should consider another great Central Illinois company, Pekin Insurance, for your business insurance needs. That's right, you can get all the commercial insurance coverages that your company needs from an excellent insurance company headquartered right here in Pekin, Illinois. Pekin Insurance offers comprehensive business coverage that lets you focus on what's important to you: employees, profits, and peace of mind. Ask your local Pekin Insurance agent about their commercial insurance products or learn more at pekininsurance.com. You can also contact your favorite podcast hosts, Garrett or myself, Derek, and we'll go beyond the expected for you.
Welcome to the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, where business owners, thought leaders, and community champions from across Central Illinois come to share their story. The Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. Anything less would be uncivilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? I'm Derek Hayden. I'm here with Garrett Ulmer. We are your hosts for the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast, powered by Zambu. Zambu is a delicious grapefruit or wildberry vodka-based spirit infused with a Brazilian buzz button. It's smooth, tasty, and leaves you with a signature tingle. Learn more at zambuliquors.com. Zambu, taste the tingle. All right, Central Illinois, today's guest is the director of the brand new Lyft program in beautiful Mattoon, Illinois. Ladies and gents of Central Illinois, please welcome to the show, McLain Schaefer. How you doing, McLain?
I'm doing great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on today. Excited to talk a little bit about Lyft and what we got going on over here.
Awesome. We're excited too. Yeah. Well, before we start talking about Lyft, we want to get to know you a little bit better, McLain. So I'm going to kick it to Garrett to take you through our speed round.
Yep, we got 6 questions, 60 seconds, so our listeners can get a better idea of who McLain is. Are you ready?
Oh, boy, here we
go. First concert you ever attended?
First concert, probably third day.
Third day. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? It's a tie between Dumb and Dumber and Top Gun.
That's pretty good.
Couple opposite ends of the spectrum there, you know.
That's it, right there.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Ice cream flavor. Oh man, it depends on the day. I'd probably say Oreo. Give me some Oreo. Let's go.
Good choice. iPhone or Android?
Android all day. iPhone people are crazy. There's a bite out of the apple, man. Like, that's an evil phone.
Favorite social media platform?
Probably the one I'd click on first is Facebook, but I'm also a big Strava fan, really motivational, and I kind of consider that a social media piece. All right.
Too. Yeah, cool. And last but not least, why Central Illinois?
Why Central Illinois? Born and raised. Yeah, you know, like a resident of Charleston and graduation in 2003, and did some time in the military. Thought I'd stay away for a while, and came back and just can't stay away. And not only can't stay away, like I just am learning to love Central Illinois more and more every day. It's awesome. I love this place.
Awesome.
Good deal.
Well, good. So we got to know you a little bit better. Can you, McLain, I guess this is going to be a 2-part answer or spiel here. So first off, tell us you said you started and grew up in Charleston. Tell us a little bit about where you started, how you got to where you are now, and then tell us about Lyft.
Yeah. So that comes down to the power of moments, right? That's kind of how I attribute it. We all have those like moments that happened in our lives that just kind of changed the trajectory. And that happened at a conversation at my grandfather's kitchen table where he told me, I was in college, he said, have you thought about getting your teaching certificate? And I said, no, I haven't. I'm going to go into law enforcement, and that's what I'm going to do. And he's like, well, you should think about doing that. So I changed my major the next day and went through some education classes, and had no intention of teaching. And you know, through some connected events, and did a practicum at Mattoon High School as part of the requirements. And that summer, I got a call in early August from the high school principal saying, hey, are you interested in maybe being a teacher? And I said, well, I don't have a job and I can't land one in law enforcement right now, so I'll come in and talk to you. And so walked in the office that day and asked the secretaries if I could talk to Mrs. Sinclair. And they told me she's not meeting with students today, and so told me to leave. And she came out and was like, no, 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 he's not a student. He's here to possibly be a teacher. And so little did I know, I sat in that day on the first faculty meeting. So it was the first faculty meeting, and I had no idea what was going on. She told me to sit at this table. A couple hours later, brings me in her office and kind of says, "Well, you want a job?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't have one. I'd love to have a job." And she's like, "All right, well, kids come tomorrow, so let me show you your classroom." And so that was my journey there in education, not my intention, but obviously that moment at my grandfather's table was intentional and has changed the trajectory of my life with that one conversation. And the story continues with those as I've progressed in my journey. So
That's
Very
awesome.
nice. So how did that lead you to Lyft, and what is Lyft?
Yeah, so from there, I taught. Well, I don't know if I'd call it teaching. My students who had me that first year, I mean, I'm sorry guys if you're listening to this, they're probably out there killing it, right? Like doing great stuff. But I wasn't on the top of my game then, that's for sure. And so taught at the high school for 8 years. I took a assistant principal position at Effingham High School actually for a year. Um, uh, Same thing. I got a phone call one day, and one thing led to another, and I ended up being the principal of Williams Elementary School in Mattoon. I was there for 4 years. I love that place. My kids go there, so I got to be their principal for a few years. That was really fun. And then this idea of Lyft came about, and so it's been a dream of our region conversation for decades, like well before me, of this idea of this innovation, this technology center, this CTE, career technical education school that can serve kids in our region, fill needs in our workforce, that juniors, seniors, high school kids just have high level programming to then know exactly their next steps and be able to go out there in the world with the certifications and credentials and all that stuff. And so when COVID hit, the Consolidated Communications building in downtown Mattoon vacated. And again, really cool story of how the Lumpkin family and Consolidated were champions of education and just so giving to our communities. Thought that there would be a larger vision other than just office space. And so um, approached the school district with this idea, and from there, Lyft was born. And so we've got 7 floors, a basement and 6 floors, and each floor has a specific pathway that kids can engage in and enroll in. And each pathway has a menu of courses tied with specific certifications, credentials, workplace experience, dual credits, etc. That again lifts them, pun intended there, right? Lifts
There we go.
them into their future. So we're just absolutely like thrilled that it happened. We were walking through today even and just still like trying to realize like, wow, this is here and kids are here and they're engaged, and just this elevated, lifted experience is absolutely tremendous.
Can you tell us a little bit about the pathways? I'm assuming it's different job opportunities, different training, certifications. Can you dive a little bit into that so maybe our listeners can get a better understanding of exactly what they look like?
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, we got those 7 different pathways, and I'll just start at the basement and kind of work my way to the icing on the cake. There's a little hint
Awesome.
there, right? So, our basements is our communications pathway, and so everything in the basement connected with audio, video communication, podcasting, right? You guys would be interested in that, video production, editing. We've got some sound engineering. We've got some composition songwriting. So I'm just scratching the surface of what'll all be available to students, and each floor is also, equipped obviously with state-of-the-art tech. So as we were building these programs, we built focus groups that contained, industry professionals, that contained Our local trades unions that can contain, had our universities, Lakeland and EIU, just representatives that really like know. And the questions we ask them is like, what do we need to offer programmatically that will make students cutting edge at graduation? What tools do they need to learn on in order to make that happen? And then what dispositions of the person that is actually going to teach that, what do they need to have? And so with those three things in mind, these pathways were built. And so it's just incredible. So we've moved from the communications up to our first floor, the main entrance, which is our childcare pathway. So early elementary education to daycare licensure to social work pathway, anything within that context, obviously filling a huge need in our region of just childcare for kids. And so students will graduate with their level 1 credential. They'll be able to go out and open a daycare, right, as soon as they graduate, or continue their education. And our great partners at Lakeland and EIU with some early childhood education opportunities there. We go up to the second floor, which is our IT info tech. Mr. Ramsey's kicking it up there, and we've just got that. We're an official Cisco networking academy, and so a lot of our programming certificates, credentials come through Cisco. So everything from networking to coding to cybersecurity to app development to website design. Kids are just absolutely thrilled. They have this. We have our own independent server that kids will actually they'll be able to break that one, to be honest, right? Like they're not hacking into our mainframe. We need to work, but they're going to be learning on this server lab and just really, really cool programming on that IT floor. A lot of interest in that, obviously, as well. Move up to third and fourth floor. They're kind of married together, and so third floor is HVAC. We've got some mechatronics, robotics. We've got an electric vehicle that we're going to be building from scratch starting next semester through some great sponsorship through Pilson's, who bought us this electric vehicle, and kids will literally like build the batteries that are Tesla level batteries, the chassis, wheels. And I don't even know. Dan the Man Compton is leading that up, so we get Dan the Man on here. He could talk for days on it, but kids are, again, all of those hands-on. We've got the HVAC lab. We've got Fanuc robots. We've got Simmons control systems. Like I mean, it's really incredible. And
Wow.
it just gets better as we keep going up. On fourth floor with construction, manufacturing, and architecture. And so all of your CNC milling machines and laser engravers and water jets and saws and all kinds of stuff for everything from carpentry to architecture to all that fun stuff. So
Awesome.
get up to the fifth floor, we've got our Leadership Institute. So our sponsor for leadership is Franklin Covey, and so we're thrilled to be able to offer students the all access pass. And really what's cool about the leadership is it's the thread that connects all the floors. And that came from, like, when we're talking to businesses and we're looking at some regional workforce development data that was collected, like the number one need that businesses say they need is, the soft skills, right? We need kids that are coming in and they have the soft skills and can be leaders and can work through problems and can show up on time and know how to interview and write resumes and write all of these things that they say we need. And so we listen, and every student at Lyft, regardless of if you're in the basement, top floor, you'll only be engaging what we call our Lyft leadership course, where kids will be diving into the 7 habits of highly effective people, 4 disciplines of execution. We've got some other great leadership development course to where every kid gets that. So some students, though, are enrolled in that leadership course, in that leadership pathway, and everything from human resource development to business and finance, accounting, great partners at First Mid helping lock us in on some of that as well. And then the icing on the cake is the 6th floor, right? We got culinary arts, hospitality. Like, kids are going to be running a full service restaurant once we get up and running. So everything from ordering to budgeting to front of house to back of house, like you name it, students in that pathway are going to be working in one of the most high level kitchens in our area, according to Chef Jeff. That's what I call him, our chef up there. He's been in culinary arts for over 40 years and is just like, man, this kitchen's going to be the envy of the area and what kids are going to be able to do. And it's just really, really cool to see kids coming in and tapping into their interests and their passions. And we're like, what, 2 weeks in, and
Uh-huh.
kids are already just like salivating
That
over
is awesome.
this stuff. It's really, really, really cool.
That's great. So I read on the website, and maybe I'm jumping ahead here on the culinary side, but I read something about a Lyft restaurant.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so our this first inaugural class has a really unique opportunity. So we don't have a name for a restaurant, the branding, like we don't have that. It doesn't exist yet. And so students, as they're learning to cook, are also going to learn and create what our Lyft restaurant is going to be. And so the long-term play is that we're open, at least initially, our initial vision, we're open a couple nights a week with some reservation only, and attendees come in and they're served by our students in this culinary arts field, and they have the students are prepping the menus, like everything. Come on in, have a seat for some awesome cuisine, and students are going to be bringing it to you hot and ready.
That is
That's
awesome. I know we
That's
talked a little bit before we started to record, but this is offered to more than just residents of the Mattoon area, right? Could you branch out and talk to us a little bit about how regional this is and how many areas, could be able to attend
Yeah.
Lyft?
So we've invited 28 different regional schools to be a part of our program, and we've currently got 16 that have signed the agreement that said, yeah, you know what, like we'll dabble, like we would like to see where this goes. And so just kind of imagine like all the way west, Oak Hall Valley and Shelbyville, Windsor, we've got Neoga, Effingham, T-Town up north, we've got Tuscola, Arcola, Arthur. You head out east, we're talking Chrisman, Shiloh, Kansas, Charleston. So you're starting to see like kind of that geographic area that includes all of our regional office 11 schools, school districts, and then we expand out a little bit too down south as well for those students who are also served by our special ed cooperative, Eastern Illinois Area Special Education. So we tap into Effingham and T-Town and Brownstown and some other schools like that as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
very
really,
nice.
really.
So how many students are a part of the inaugural opening of Lyft?
Yeah, we are. I mean, I can't believe it. Like we've got 105 kids here
Wow.
first year, and what we're so thankful for in that sense is like as these pioneers is what I'll call them, right? Like pioneers coming in, not only students but school districts that are saying, yeah, you know what, like we trust and believe not only like this is good, but how it's going to serve our kids, how it's going to serve our region, and the ripple effect that the learning has and the experiences that kids will get. And they're like, yeah, you know what? I know you don't have the building finished yet, but we're in. Like, we're all in. Let's go. And it's for the kids. And really, like that first day, kids came in, they're walking in the doors, and their eyes light up, and they see their school mascots up on this grand staircase as they enter, and they're like, wow, this is beyond what I could imagine. So it's just really, really cool that we got those kids, 105 to start out. Like, I mean, we are absolutely thrilled.
So how does it work for a normal day? Does a kid attend, regular part of the school day and then come on over to Lyft for certain sessions? How does that look?
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically what happens is we have 3 sessions every day. So we've got 3 2-hour sessions. Think 8 to 10, 10, 15, 12, 15, and 1:30 to 3:30. And so working with guidance counselors at their home schools for their schedules, students will sign up to attend a session. So 20% of their day would be spent at Lyft, engaging in these industry specific programs and working toward their credentialing. And then the rest of their day is spent at their home school, finishing what's required for graduation. So that's the typical setup of how kids would attend and be a part of that. So
Wow. So I can imagine that local and regional employers are pretty interested in partnering with Lyft. You mentioned Pilsen already has donated some equipment and a car. How can employers get involved and hopefully maybe gain interest of some of the Lyft students to show them what they can do employer wise and how can they contribute to the program as well.
Yeah, so I kind of joke with people when I say when I took in this role, like I had this vision of like, man, I'm going to be connecting with high schools and principals and counselors and kids. Like it's gonna be so awesome. And we rolled this out and it started happening, and that was a big portion of it. But an even bigger portion was the interest in business and industry saying, whoa, wait a minute, what are you creating here? Oh, how can we play a role? Like, how can we connect with the kids? Like, we want those types of graduates, those types of individuals coming and working for us. And so, really quickly, it shifted to, okay, let's figure this out. Let's see how we can get folks connected. So, like at the base level, what we want to provide is students that are juniors work through our program and they have the skills, they get the certifications, so they enter a workplace experience sometime in their senior year, right? The way our program is set up, kids can work at their own pace and work through that content quicker. So maybe it's a semester, maybe it's a full year where kids have those skills, have those certifications, and are able to go into a place. So businesses connect by offering those internships, apprenticeships, workplace experiences where they can take our kids to actually come in and work for you, right? We're also asking businesses, we're asking individuals who are interested to like, let's put your name on the list and bring you in so you can talk to our kids about opportunities when you graduate. Like you've got an opportunity right here regionally to put your skills to build up our region and industry. We're looking for, like I said, those guest speakers, conducting mock interviews, the internships, like how can you connect to kids? And if you have something that connects to where we can offer kids that pathway, that next step at graduation, we kind of been telling kids, like, it doesn't matter if you want to work as soon as you graduate, our certificates, credentials are going to set you up to where you can earn a really good living with what you're getting at Lyft right after graduation. But maybe for you, you want to head on to trade school, or maybe you're going to go on to Lakeland or EIU or Ivy League or anywhere in between, like Lyft's for you, like Lyft's for you. And so as industry and business see that, we want to provide that clear next step for kids. So if I'm a student working through a pathway and I'm entering my senior year, I have a menu of choices of like, these people want you, like they need you, they want you, and it's going to get pretty competitive with the selection of kids being able to do that. So they get a hold of me, we have a conversation, we get connected with kids, and it's just like everybody wins in that, right? It's just a really cool space to be in.
Very nice. So I don't even think we mentioned this when we first started. What does Lyft stand for?
Yeah, Lyft. So Leaders Innovating for Tomorrow. Lyft stands for that. A whole team kind of came to that. That's what we're all about.
That's great. So go ahead, Garrett.
I was just going to say, what was the initial response when this started to come out, from, other teachers and students? I'm assuming it had to have been pretty good from teachers, because with today's, job market and looking for individuals for trades and things seems to be on a pretty high demand. I would think that the response from local individuals had to be pretty good.
Yeah, we've had a really positive response. Like I said, the trailblazers, the pioneers that have sent their kids here this semester are the ones that are all in, and there has been a really positive response. I think like for our region, especially our district, it's like this has been a dream, right, for a couple of decades, and here we are able to do it, and to kind of like think big picture here for a second, like the idea of a regional school, right? It's beyond a Mattoon thing, right? It is Mattoon. We're here. Our students are enrolled just as we're one of the 16 schools, right? So they're here, but the ripple effect of the outcomes that kids will get, of the leadership learning that kids will get, that ripple effect has a regional impact. And that's really kind of this big picture vision that our Board of Education was passionate about. Like this is a big, and our superintendent, our sister superintendent, and so many people that spent countless hours and time of of developing this dream and making it happen. It's created quite the.
I mean, it's pretty much offered college before college.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and we tell kids like they were here, and we're like, yeah, you know what? I was one of those guys that changed my major. Thanks, Grandpa. And extended my learning a little bit, and that cost. That's not cheap when you're in college. So we're like, hey, you know what? One of our core values is exploration. Like we're here, we have Lyft, and when you're in, you can get a little taste of anything you want. We're not limiting you to that pathway you signed up for. We
sure.
believe in that exploration and that if you're going to learn as a junior and senior, awesome. Because some kids are getting into these programs and they're like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought it was. But upstairs on that floor, man, that's it. So exploration is what we're committed to and allowing kids to do that.
That's so cool.
When you mentioned, so like the early childhood, the childcare type stuff, in my opinion, in our area, that is one of the biggest issues for keeping and attracting young families to the area.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people realize how big of an opportunity is to be a professional and get a head start at Lyft doing this, and B, adding this to our region, once these kids are out and like actually able to provide the childcare that they've learned how to provide at Lyft, how big of an attraction and a growing opportunity is for our region. Because I know that's what's kind of held, Garrett and I live in Shelbyville. That's held us
Yeah.
back. There's a lot of young professionals that have decided not to move to Shelbyville because of the childcare issue.
Yeah.
There's been people leave Shelbyville because,
Yep.
they just can't find it.
Yeah. And we've had, some good opportunities for individuals to move in, but the childcare is just not there for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that story has been the same across the region with that interest of like, wow, this is really big. And so that first floor is going to be a fully functioning daycare. Like we will have birth through 3-year-olds in that space, and the students that are learning to getting that credential, like they're hands on. Like they're in there, they're rocking babies, and I think I'll probably be down there for some therapy at some point, and then go on from there. But yeah, so we haven't. I guess we haven't started that pathway yet. Maybe that could be some like baby therapy pathway.
Right.
There you go.
On that. So great stuff.
That's awesome. So you went out and found kind of experts in each pathway to be the facilitators. How did you find those people, and what kind of experience did these people had? I know you said the culinary leader has 40 years of experience, but these people that are leading the classes, tell us a little bit about those people.
Yeah. So we call ourselves the Avengers, right? We've assembled the dream team here, and we are the Avengers for sure. And so this group of people wasn't easy to bring in. Like there's some specialty skills and knowledge that are needed for these spaces, but you walk through Lyft and meet one of them. Not only are they the Avengers, but they are what we call the champions of their program, and everything comes down to them, right? Like the success of what we do. And so, man, I'll tell you what, just the best group of people. They're so good. So we got Logan Poland in communications, and he did some work in broadcasting, even with I think the Michigan Twins, or not Michigan Twins, the Minnesota Twins. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was in there, has his degree from EIU in communications, who also went through Lakeland, so he's got that local touch and is just coming in pumped for kids. Miss Lori Gear, childcare. So not only did she run her own daycare out of her house, but she's been a early childhood educator for several years in town. Interesting story for our HVAC green energy mechatronics guy. He's an engineer, but he spent 25 years of his career as a jet pilot. So the dude's been in every continent except I think he says Antarctica or something like that. So he's got a really cool story and down there just rocking it out with kids. You got Mr. Brown, Chris Brown on our fourth floor. He's been a long time wood shop teacher, drafting teacher at our local high school, and is coming over here at Lyft to focus in on expertise there in that manufacturing, architecture, and construction. You've got Miss Jessica Clausen, who started her career as a music teacher and has developed into a Franklin Covey coach, and has spent the better part of the last 6 years, I think, in the leadership development role in our district with Franklin Covey and the Leader in Me program. So she's heading it out, hammering it out there on our fifth floor, sorry. And then, like I said, we got Chef Jeff, who's coming in hot. Literally
Pun
coming
intended
in
again.
hot up there on that. He's just got so much experience with the food industry, and he also had his own restaurant for a decade as well. So he's got it, and you put them all together, like there it is, the Avengers, baby. Let's go.
That's
awesome.
great. Yeah, you guys got to get capes or something. Lyft capes.
I thought about that. I thought about getting that in there. I don't know. We're going to do some cool things for sure.
That's great. So what is because as soon as you started mentioning food and restaurants, I was interested in what's the ETA look like on the Lyft Restaurant?
Yeah, so everybody's asking that. Like everybody wants, hey, so when can we come in and have that? Like right now in my office, I'm smelling the cooking that they have going on right now today. Just having some fun on a Friday, cooking some stuff up, getting a little taste test of things. So we're hoping that this semester we can get organized and name the restaurant and roll through and start some menu production, and then looking at next semester being able to open up and start serving the public. So that's our goal. It's ambitious, but I think I think we can pull it off. The kids I know are really pumped to make it happen. So
I'm going to guess at first it's going to be pretty hard to get a reservation to get a table.
I'm thinking so. But like I said, we're starting the party a couple nights a week. Let's see how it goes. Get some reservations, and depending on demand, I know we're going to be expanding. And Chef Jeff has some like really big ideas beyond just running a restaurant on how kids in that culinary program can learn to use those skills to serve communities, from prepackaged meals to food trucks to farm to table type things. So I mean, like I said, when we say the restaurant, like that's just a drop in the bucket of kind of his vision of where, and the kids' vision really of where this is going to go.
That's great.
Well, this is pretty exciting. I'm excited to see where this goes. Excited for you, McLain, and the staff and the students especially, and for our local employers that are going to obviously see the fruits of everyone's labor, I guess you would say. And yeah, it's going to be cool. So we're actually surprisingly already at 30 minutes. Before we hop off of here, McLain, is there anything that you want to share with the listeners, or any tips, ideas, whatever you want to share, or you can say, I'm out of breath, let's call it a day?
Oh yeah, I think the only thing, I would be remiss if I just didn't take a moment to just publicly thank all those who played a role when we were able to open up the doors to Lyft our first day and bring the kids in. Our assistant superintendent of student services, Dr. Christy Hill, sent a message out to over 200 individuals that in some form or fashion played a role in the vision of Lyft and making this come to fruition. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that this building and what kids are experiencing is way bigger than me, is way bigger than any individual, and was truly a collective effort to create these experiences for kids to make an impact on our region.
That's
awesome.
Great. That's true. Yep. We'll give a special thanks to everybody that did that as well. And hopefully we continue to see more businesses and individuals continue to contribute and grow this thing to what it could potentially be. So that's exciting. Well, for all you loyal listeners listening to the CIBL podcast on whatever platform you're listening to, make sure while you're there, leave us a review. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can also follow CIBL on social media, on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can connect with Garrett and I personally there as well. Until next time, McLain, you've officially been civilized.
Let's go.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Have a great weekend, man. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.